Thank you to Colin Williams for today's Contingency. Agamemnon Contingency, boy genius. The title of genius is not one that can be handed out easily. To be able to stand with the smartest people on the planet, one would need to prove that their intellect is far beyond the comprehensible. And yet, as time goes on, I find that people who have achieved this are getting younger and younger, with one of the youngest I've come across being that of Dexter, a self-proclaimed boy genius. But trust me when I say that he's more than proven this to be fact, as Dexter has pulled off mechanical and technological feats that put older geniuses to shame. We'll start off small and work our way up. As there are a near countless number of inventions to choose from, I'll stick to the most notable. Starting with his Dexo transformer, an exo-suit which he can conveniently fit inside of a simple backpack, originally crafted to help him during a dodgeball incident, of which he'd found himself the constant target of 3 recurring bullies. This suit not only granted Dexter increased strength and agility, but it was also customized to fire dodgeballs at incredible speeds. Don't ask me where the suit keeps them though, as I have yet to find an answer. And this is hardly the limit of his robotics expertise. As for larger threats, Dexter has several options, such as the Dexo 2000, a large robot with not only incredible destructive ability, capable of contending with asteroids, but it is also able to achieve escape velocity, capable of leaving Earth's atmosphere in a matter of seconds. That said, there are a few aspects of which this robot can fall short, but Dexter has created stronger, more advanced robots, such as the multi-formic Megabot, which is created by combining 4 smaller robots together. It was strong enough to outmatch a massive axe-headed monster. That is until someone unintentionally gave it a boost of power. And if robotics isn't enough, Dexter is also extremely proficient in biological engineering. Enough so that he was capable of reviving a Tyrannosaurus Rex from a fossil, one which he would then transplant a brain and heart from an older dog, giving the T-Rex a docile and canine-like personality. Fossils are typically far too old for any form of DNA to have survived, and yet Dexter was still capable of finding a way. But breaking logic with his inventions is typical for him. Dexter is also capable of mutating a human's DNA for various effects, such as the time he'd caused his sister to grow to gigantic proportions. This wouldn't be the first or the last time something like this would happen, but if I had to single out another instance, it would be the time he'd accidentally given her a monster potion he'd mistaken for a silencing potion. Keeping chemicals like this so close to each other and in his inner shirt pocket isn't the wisest of choices, but he is only 9 years old. The following mutations that both he and his sister would go through would eventually lead to the both of them growing large enough that they could be seen from outer space. While the mutations seemed to be at random, the destructive force behind them was clear. Also, Dexter would be revealed to be the creator of the Chupacabra. Named Charlie, it had escaped without Dexter's knowledge, its original purpose being to scare his sister. It's implied that Charlie's desire to feed on goats was a defect in his design. This situation has me concerned with how many other experiments of his may have escaped from under his nose. As stated, there are far too many inventions of his to list for one video, from creating interdimensional portals to time-traveling devices, if you can imagine it. Dexter has probably created it, though in my opinion his most impressive and powerful invention would be the neuromics protocore. This device is effectively an infinite source of energy. Being capable of solving the world's energy crisis is impressive enough, but there is one other function of the neuromics protocore that gives it the potential to be the most dangerous weapon on the planet. This device will reflect on the user, which in turn will affect the world around it, shaping it to match the purity or evil of whomever wields it. If used by someone who is benevolent, it would bring prosperity to the world, creating a utopia which enriches the land and the minds of those around it. But if used by evil, it create the opposite, a total dystopic hellscape of which everyone under it would be forced into servitude. I've seen both scenarios. Fortunately, it will be many years before Dexter is capable of building such a device, long enough to keep track of his progress and ensure he stays on the right path. Finally comes his physical abilities, which, I won't lie, seems to change at the drop of a hat. As one moment Dexter is incapable of throwing a baseball, while moments later he's capable of single-handedly combating an interdimensional monster like a seasoned fighter. And then in yet another moment, he can't even manage a single pull-up. It's hard to say why his physical abilities are so inconsistent. Perhaps it's a trigger in his mind, one he cannot control but activates when his life is in danger. Needless to say, Dexter seems to be a well-rounded opponent to be against, also managing to hide his genius-level intellect from his family, along with the lab which he first constructed when he was still in diapers. There are many factors to consider when making a contingency against Dexter, as the slightest hint of a threat could cause him to act accordingly. For starters, I've looked into Computer, his AI companion, which keeps track of everything in Dexter's lab. Not only is she the center and most vital piece of equipment he has, but he seems to hold it to a higher regard than any of his other inventions, though his attachment to it seems wildly inappropriate if you ask me, and the voice he's given it doesn't help. Either way, I've implanted a Trojan to his computer's mainframe. Not only does it allow me to keep track of any future inventions, it will also give me access to his systems at the press of a button, including a switch he has which can shut down his entire lab at once. This would at the very least cut him off from the vast majority of his equipment. I am also prepared to take advantage of his physical build. It may seem a bit cruel, but I've seen Dexter unable to break free from a bread box. Though it's safe to say that any surprise attack would work on him, so long as it subdues him instantly. In the event that it does come to a fight, however, I do need to stay on my toes. Sure, he may be a preteen, but I've shown on multiple times that a child can more than match someone above their weight class with the right training. Finally, I have prepared a nuclear option. You see, even in the event that Dexter were to turn evil, something I'd want to avoid is destroying his inventions, as many of them could still prove to be a great asset to humanity in the right hands. I wouldn't want to risk losing them before I learn how to replicate the technology. But should the choice come down to humanity or his inventions, I'll have no choice but to destroy them if the need were to arise. However, I wouldn't need to do this by my own hands. As mentioned, Dexter has a sister by the name of DD. While his intellectual opposite, she makes up for it by being physically superior. Add that with her being far more cunning, and DD has managed to consistently outmatch him. She is also very well experienced in destroying his lab, and anything else of his that she may get her hands on. Hard to say if this is done out of blissful ignorance to her brother's strife or general malice, but there is no doubt that even a Dexter turned evil wouldn't be able to stop her. As such, I've prepared a deal with her. Should I give the signal, she will destroy Dexter's lab with extreme prejudice. So long as she is willing to uphold her end of the deal, I will grant her entry and free tuition to whatever ballet school she desires. I will continue to keep tabs with Dexter's progress. Even at his age, he's shown incredible promise as an up-and-coming hero. I'd like to take a more hands-on approach to his development, but Alfred put a stop to that faster than I could enact it. Either way, I'm sure that in time he'll become a fine addition to the Justice League. If you also have a character you wish for me to cover, or just want to support this channel, I'll have a link to my Ko-fi page. There will also be a Google Doc with the list of characters who have ever been done or already commissioned by others.